So last time we talked about how quitting anything is hard. Well, this time we're gonna flip the script a bit. We're gonna be talking about how starting anything is hard. Don't worry, I'm not that pessimistic about life, but I thought I should get the hard parts out, you know. So, first of all, I think you're gonna notice the really improved quality of how the game is not breaking your eardrums anymore. And I think that really ties into what I said last video, that, you know, you can try, fail, and try again, and you're gonna learn something. For example, from last video, I learned the fact that I could barely hear myself. And that's not really a good thing. In any case, starting everything and anything is hard. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm sure you've tried to start anything at least once in your life. Like, come on, you've started college, you've started you've started doing something you love. For me, the hard thing that I started was starting my business, actually. It was a really difficult thing to do, especially seeing as I just, sort of thought that, oh, okay, look, we can, like, I should start something. And usually when you start stuff, it's it's something that you've always wanted to do deep down inside, you know? Starting anything, right? Like, why would anyone start something? Well, they probably started because they love it, or because they think that, well, I could do that, I'm not bad at this. Why not? Let's try it. And this video is gonna, just go into the whole why not aspect of things. I, for one, am very, very, very supportive of starting anything. Even though last video I said that, hey, look, starting a business isn't for everyone. Nobody's stopping you from giving it a shot, you know? Like, what comes after quitting something, right? You're gonna start something else. That's the beauty of things, you know? You stop doing something and then you start doing something else. I don't know, let's see, what could I use as an example? Let's say you started tradition, for example. You know, traditions are really important and they help people keep themselves anchored and stay true to who they really are as a person. And that's important, you know. Losing yourself is it's scary. You know, whenever you start something, you're going to be faced with the thing that I feel like I'm losing myself. But is it really bad? You know, is losing yourself something you should be afraid of? The answer is more complicated than it seems. Yes, you should be afraid of losing yourself, of course. But you shouldn't let that scare you away from doing anything, because losing your current self can only mean doing something else. Yeah. And doing something else, yeah. Why is it hard to do something else, you know? Well, first of all, you're venturing into the great unknown, right? I'm gonna be real with you. I'm using the whole starting a business as an example. You can really use anything. Maybe you too want to start a YouTube channel or something. But the business subject is where where I like to think I excel, and where I like to think I'm the most experienced in being able to talk about that. So yeah, that's really what, in a way, quote unquote, entitles me to talk about this, because I don't want to talk about things that I have no idea. about, right? There is no way I'm gonna get into politics or stuff like that on this channel. But starting a business, right? Let's take that easy example, right? So what do you need to start a business? Think about it honestly. Like, well, first of all, you need to know that you're good at something. Or maybe not even that. You need to know that you like doing something in the first place. Because if you don't like doing something, then come on, let's face it, why do it? There are so many things you can do with your life, so why pick doing a certain thing? Let's hope I get all the skill points. All right. And, you know, you'd start doing something because A, you've always thought, huh, wouldn't it be nice to do that thing? And second of all, because you want to. But what is this whole wanting thing? Hmm? How do you know that you, per se, dear viewer, want to do something? Well, you don't really have to have done it before. There's just the feeling that you want to do a thing. Like, come on, I don't know. Let's find a more relatable example. Let's say you want to start eating more healthy, right? Maybe you've never eaten healthy in your life, but you want to start doing that. Why do you want to do that? In fact, why do you want to do anything? I know, quite a hard question to answer. Like, the more you think about it, the harder it becomes to answer. But us humans aren't really as irrational as we like to think we are. Anything starts with an idea. The idea grows into a burning desire. For example, my burning desire for that skeleton to not shoot me. And after you get over this burning desire stage, you know, like you've found, that's what we call passion, quote unquote, right? Like you're passionate about something. You may not be the best at it, but you certainly want to learn more and be more involved with said thing. So you found a passion, and this passion drives you forward to do things you would never really have imagined you'd end up doing. So what? What do you do now that you know you want to do a thing? Well, you start it. Easier said than done, right? We've all probably had those things where like we tried to pick something up, for example, I don't know, learning Japanese or any other foreign language for that matter. And most of us have probably dropped it. And that's what makes starting things so hard. The fact that usually we start something, that's not the problem. But when we think about starting something, we also we also associate it with the idea of continuing said thing we started. And that's the hard part. Like you have to really, really want to do something in order to keep at it. You know, like do it on the rainy days and stuff. But don't worry, I'm not here to talk about motivation and determination and such. That's honestly, that video could be a really long one, and we're gonna handle that topic another day. And you know, most people think there's a trick. Like, oh, there has to be this trick. Someone has to know a trick to starting and keeping at it. And no, there is no trick, sadly, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. There's no easy way. You just need to want it enough. But after wanting it enough, just need to keep wanting it and keep, like, I don't know, for example, you are craving something, you're craving a food, right? Very delicious food. I want you to imagine your favorite food and think about it, right? Well, it's your favorite food. Of course, you're gonna go ahead and buy it, which is starting the whole process. But then you get to the hard part, like you have to actually cook it and, of course, enjoy it afterwards. But most people stop when it comes to the cooking part. Why? Well, cooking is hard, it's boring, and any other excuses you might find and come up with. Could have sworn there was a pig here. Anyway. See, even this discussion, like I've started it, right? And the second I notice a pig missing, my brain just goes, oh, well, what were we doing again? So this is also a lesson in focus, right? Focus is another really important aspect of starting something and doing it. Seeing it through to the end and stuff. And don't worry, I'm not here to shame you on accountability or stuff like that, no. Let's face it, nobody really cares that much. Unless you're like at a job or something, you don't really have much accountability in life. You can hold yourself accountable, and that's probably the greatest way to ensure that once you start something, you're not gonna stop. But other than that, let's face it, what's keeping you accountable? Right, that's precisely it. Nothing. Okay. So we've determined that starting also involves focus, and just generally being there, showing up, not being afraid to do the thing. Because that's another thing with starting. Taking criticism a bit too personally. Suppose you went ahead, right? You filed the paperwork, you started your business. Congratulations. You started it in a way. How do you keep at it? When, for example, I don't know, your parents might say that, why are you doing this? Or your loved one, you know. There are many people, like, people are very upset with their own lives. So, of course, once you start something, they're gonna be like, oh, well, why is he starting that? Does he think that he's better than me? And they'll bring you down. It happens. The mind is very fragile, especially when it comes to criticism, and especially if said criticism comes from someone we respect or we think really, really, really highly about. But how do you go unbothered by these things? I'm sure we've all dreamed of a life when nobody would have anything to say, like we could just do our things and nobody would say anything. No? Just me? I doubt that. But the whole trick to it is having a key reason, you know? Having a key reason, maybe, like, the more you sketch something out, right? For example, any great drawing, right? It starts with a sketch, unless you're some Bob Ross. In that case, just congratulations. If you're Bob Ross, please contact me. I would love a piece of artwork from you. But most of us are not Bob Ross. Okay. So we need to start with a small sketch. And usually that's the actual dictionary meaning of starting. And then we might use passion to fuel our desire. But at the end of the day, we also need a bit of discipline, you know? Ah, yes, that really scary thing that makes us do stuff. Oh no, how threatening. But unfortunately, there's no easy way. Anything in life requires you do something, a sacrifice. Not a sacrifice per se, but It just requires you to be there and be willing to be uncomfortable. You know, just be uncomfortable. Why not? Use that lack of comfort to know that you're going in the right direction. And the rest will actually come from inside. Like, you'll manage. Trust me. If I can do it, anyone can. So, yeah, just accountability and the whole map or plan or, just a sketch, an idea of something will help you go a long way. And you might be wondering, well, why is that? I have no idea. I'm no brain surgeon. I don't know how or why our brains are wired this way, but that's just how humans work. And you might be saying, well, I tried to start things and I was really determined and really passionate and really everything about. No, you were not. And you were not. I'm sorry. That's the harsh reality. If you really want to do something, you do it. Yes, there are many circumstances and stuff. And oh boy, I died again. There are many circumstances and stuff where you will find a way to blame it on something. I could not do X thing because I was cold, because I was sick. And it's fine. It's fine. But remember that your accountability is going to take a huge hit when you do that. You know? Why does it take such a huge hit? Well, it takes such a huge hit because you're allowing yourself to skip something, like, I don't know, the human mind is an interesting thing because once you create a precedent, you know, like you've allowed for something to happen once, well, the whole barrier, the whole mental barrier that you put there is suddenly gone, reduced to ashes. Like you were thinking that, oh, this is such a great idea, I should really do X thing. Which means that I'll keep at it. And you do it for 1 day, for 2 days, for 5 days, for who? No, like for I don't know how many days, but you do it for many, many days on end. And suppose you didn't do it for that many days. Like, I don't know, you ate healthy for 5 days, right? And then you say, well, look, I'm going to allow myself a cheat day. That's an example for going on a diet, right? Which is also an example that, for me at least, hits home. You allow yourself this cheat date once. What's stopping you from allowing yourself to cheat again and again and again until anything and everything you've wanted is suddenly out of your reach again and you're asking yourself, well, how did I end up here? It's simple. You ended up here of your own accord. Why? Because you let yourself not do X thing once. And let me be the first to tell you that breaking a habit is so much more easier than building one. Building a habit takes ages, and that's not me saying that. There are studies backing this up. So you should really take that into consideration. The fact that, like not being consistent is going to be your downfall eventually. Now, I don't mean to scare you. Again, we're just talking about why starting something and keeping at it is difficult. This isn't meant to criticize you or anything. If you feel attacked, I'm sorry, but I'm actually happy that you feel that way because feeling uncomfortable about something is a sign that something needs to change. It's your brain saying, hey, look, we should really go down a different path. Why don't we try doing something else? So as sorry as I may feel if you felt attacked from the previous line, I'm happy you felt that way because it means that there's room for progress. And it's in your reach. Those are the greatest news. Starting something is very hard and very easy at the same time. It's a paradox, if you ask me. But honestly, starting something is easier than quitting something else. So why not start it? Hmm? Now that you know that it's not really as complicated as you may make it seem in your head. Why not start something? Have your fun. Life is life is life, you know. It's fun. It's amazing. Of course, it might not feel that way in most cases, but let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. Think about, I don't know, whatever the last bad thing that happened to you was. Right? You were probably miserable back then. That's just life. You're miserable most of it, unless you approach it in a different manner. You're gonna be miserable. And I don't know. Let's go to whatever the last hard decision or painful decision was. You know, something that really put you through hell, that tested your limits. We've all been through it in one way or another. Everyone has experienced it, unless you're like 5 years old. Then good job. I am sorry to tell you, but you're gonna experience it at some point in life. But that's not really a problem. It's fine. It's life being life. I'm not here to tell you to enjoy the pain. Nobody enjoys pain. Not even people that say, oh no, pain drives me and stuff. Yes, pain does drive you, but it also does drive you insane. You should be aware of that. And so, how could someone rethink their approach to life? Well, it's not as hard as it seems. You just need to start. Yes, I was waiting for like half an hour to make that joke, but you really need to start looking at life in a different light if you want to be able to start and continue things. So in a way, you could say that I lied and said that starting is hard, because starting is not that hard. But keeping at it, that's where it gets to you. And it's sad to see so many people with such great potential, with so many things to say, so many things to do. It's sad to see them miserable and quitting something, maybe something that they're even good at, after the slightest bit of resistance from life. Because that's life, you know, that's inertia. Try, I don't know, try rolling a ball, right? Just if you have any kind of ball, please, I encourage you, pause the video, go grab it, and roll it on your desk or whatever you may have near you. All right, you're back? Great. How did rolling the ball go? It didn't really seem to want to stop. But how was getting the ball rolling? Well, of course, the ball would have been stationary unless you pushed it, you know? And when you pushed it, the ball was started rolling and it didn't really want to stop, right? And depending on how fast you roll it, it might even be painful to stop at some point. So us humans, in a way, should be more like the ball you rolled on your desk. You know, it should be painful to stop doing something, especially if it's something good. Unfortunately, life also makes it painful to stop bad things. That's just the reality of life. You get something rolling, it's painful to stop it. You get something stopped, it's painful to start it. But keeping it rolling, right? Suppose you get the same ball and now your desk is inclined a bit. The ball is going to want to fall. So, isn't it going to require a bit more force to get it up? Of course it is. It always takes more force whenever life feels like it's against you. But now think of it a different way. You need to get the ball on your inclined desk rolling, and when it falls off your desk, you did something. You know, like, I don't know, you get food or something. I don't know. I really don't have a good example for this. So it was hard, right? Getting the ball rolling was hard, stopping it was harder, but eventually you pulled through. You were determined. Why were you determined? Well, you were determined because you knew you'd get something out of it, right? And that's the last key aspect of starting something. You know you're gonna get something out of it. Something bad, something good. That's your problem to decide. But whatever you may be struggling with starting, first of all, I assure you, there is no sane human that's not had problems starting something. There isn't. Anyone you ask has had problems with starting and keeping at it at some point, right? It's normal. That's just how we're built, how we're wired. It's just the human nature. But the last trick to keeping yourself motivated, focused, and accountable in a way to doing the thing you really didn't want to do, or like you really wanted to do but made up excuses not to, is to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is something waiting for you, be it personal satisfaction, financial gains. You know, there is something. Once you know that there is something and that whatever you do is going to be helpful, it's suddenly going to get a whole lot easier to just keep at it. You know? So, yeah, starting isn't hard, and keeping at it, well, that's a bit more difficult. But really, now, are you sure you want to give up the possibly great result? Do you really want to deprive yourself of that? If you do, I'm sorry, I cannot understand you, I cannot relate to you, but I guarantee most of you don't. So don't be scared to start anything. You might even find yourself enjoying it. And all of a sudden, when you enjoy it and find a reason to do it, trust me, it gets a whole lot easier and way more enjoyable. So that was the whole talk about starting, which turned out to be keeping something going. I really hope you take care, and whatever it is you want to start, best of luck. Do keep me in touch, please. Like, if you've managed to start something after watching this, please just keep me in the loop. I really love to see people doing better. Until then, take care and just remember to enjoy life a little. Life is too beautiful not to.